Do you find the lack of action inexcusable?
Yes!
Do you demand change?
Yes!
Calls for change last night outside Hoboken City Council as residents gathered for another protest against the city's recent 47% property tax increase. The increase was imposed by the state monitor, who was brought in to oversee the city's finances after the council failed to pass a budget last year. Last night, residents presented their own list of demands.
We demand the following from our elected officials. We demand that each member of the City Council identify $10 million in immediate budget cuts. We demand renegotiation of fair and reasonable union contracts with taxpayer interests in mind.
Our goal tonight is to remind the City Council that we elected them to do a job and not dawdle around, and we want them to focus on the budget and focus on an austerity budget for the rest of this year and a very austere budget for 2010.
Our message to elected officials is that we want action. We are sick of going to council meetings and seeing the council not even able to make an agreement on decreasing their salaries by 10%. If we don't see action, we're going to take every measure necessary in order to get in new officials, which could be recall.
Meanwhile, the Hoboken City Council last night unanimously rejected a 9 million square foot redevelopment plan for the city's rail yards, with Councilman-at-Large Peter Camerano abstaining. Mayor David Roberts says the council's vote is a huge mistake because 2,000 permanent jobs would have been created and more than $30 million in tax revenues would have resulted from the project, easing the tax burden being faced by city residents.
At a time when the national economy, the state economy, the local economy is suffering, to not have any interest in that is reprehensible. It's just downright reprehensible. Placing office buildings adjacent to mass transportation has been an approach that's been accepted by every major planning firm that looked at this in the nation. And the municipal council, with the combination of not adopting their budget and doubling taxes as a result of the penalties associated with that, and rejecting out of hand opportunities to bring in millions of dollars in revenues into our community is just beyond the pale.
I think they did the right thing, but the question of whether or not the resolution should have been passed or should have failed last night and having the council, not pass it and vote against it, I think was the right thing to do. But whether or not that should have passed, whether or not an increase in the contract price should have been approved for this vendor, whether or not an additional appropriation should have been made, is a separate consideration of whether or not the project, whether or not the proposed redevelopment project is a good one. I'm on record in the newspapers in the past months as saying that it's not the right plan. I think that the overall size of it, the scope of it, the density of it, the height of it is not the right thing for Hoboken. I think an 87-story tower on the southeastern edge of Hoboken, right next to the Hudson River on our border with Jersey City, is frankly out of character. It is not in keeping with Hoboken's architecture, Hoboken's aesthetics, Hoboken's human scale, and it really is too much. I think that there should be something built on the property. Something has to be done there. We don't need to have that entire length of the southern end of Hoboken remain as a train yard, certainly because we don't have the kind of train traffic that you had in years past that justified that amount of room being dedicated to a train yard. So something should happen down there, but what's on the table is too much. It's too large. It needs to go back to the drawing board. I think that the message was sent last night to the professionals that the council is not in favor of this plan. I think it was the right message, and I'm hoping that they're listening to what it is that we're telling them, despite what the mayor is saying about the project.
You could only cut so much from a municipal budget. It's impossible to cut $15 million from a municipal budget. Every serious person understanding the municipal budget process knows that. What you need to do is increase revenues, increase and expand your business. By rejecting that plan last night, hurts Hoboken into the future. I hope this could be redone.
In addition to the office skyscrapers, the development plan by FX Fowl would have included a line of residential towers as high as 78 stories, set back from Observer Highway along the Jersey City border. It would also have featured 8 acres of parkland.